Blood pressure medications are silently stealing your energy, your memory, and potentially years from your life, and your doctor might not even realize it's happening. But first, subscribe to this channel because what I'm about to reveal could literally save your life and the lives of everyone you love. The shocking truth about how common blood pressure medications for seniors over 65 are causing more harm than good has been hidden in plain sight, buried in medical journals that most doctors never read. And today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on this medical cover-up that's affecting millions of people just like you. Margaret was 68 when she first noticed something wasn't right. She'd been taking the same blood pressure medication for 3 years, dutifully following her doctor's orders, never missing a dose, and yet she felt like she was aging 10 years for everyone that passed. Her morning walks became impossible because of dizziness. Her once sharp mind felt clouded and confused, and she couldn't shake the bone-deep fatigue that made even simple tasks feel monumental. What Margaret didn't know, what her doctor didn't tell her, what the pharmaceutical companies definitely don't want you to discover, is that her medication was slowly poisoning her system while masking the real problem that was destroying her health from the inside out. You see, the dirty secret about blood pressure medications that nobody talks about is this: they're designed to manage symptoms, not cure the underlying condition. And in the process of lowering your blood pressure numbers on paper, they're often creating a cascade of side effects that can be far more dangerous than the high blood pressure itself. Think about it. When was the last time your doctor explained exactly how your blood pressure medication works in your body? Or, more importantly, what it's doing to your other organs while it's forcing your blood pressure down? The answer is probably never, because most doctors are following outdated protocols from medical school, protocols that were written by the same pharmaceutical companies that profit billions of dollars every year from keeping you on these medications for life. Here's what they're not telling you. Your blood pressure naturally changes throughout the day, and what's considered normal for a 30-year-old is completely different from what's healthy for someone over 65. Yet doctors are using the same one-size-fits-all approach for everyone, regardless of age, lifestyle, or individual health circumstances. Margaret's story gets worse before it gets better, because after 6 months of feeling like a shadow of her former self, she developed something called orthostatic hypotension. That's when your blood pressure drops so dramatically when you stand up that you feel like you're going to faint. And it's a direct result of being over-medicated. The irony is heartbreaking. The medication meant to protect her heart was actually making her more likely to fall, break a hip, or worse. But here's where Margaret's story takes a dramatic turn and why I'm sharing this with you today. She discovered something that her doctor had never mentioned, something that changed everything. During a routine visit to check her medication levels, a nurse practitioner who had been studying integrative medicine asked Margaret a simple question that no one had asked before. What did your blood pressure look like before you started this medication, and have we ever tried addressing the root causes instead of just treating the numbers? This question opened a door that Margaret didn't even know existed, because like most people, she assumed that once you're on blood pressure medication, you're on it for life. But that's simply not true for many people, especially seniors whose bodies and lifestyles have changed dramatically since they first started taking these medications. The nurse practitioner explained something that will shock you. Many seniors are taking blood pressure medications based on readings that were taken during stressful medical appointments, when their blood pressure was naturally elevated due to anxiety about being in a doctor's office, a phenomenon called white coat syndrome that affects up to 30% of people over 65. Even more disturbing is the fact that the blood pressure guidelines were changed in 2017, instantly turning millions of healthy seniors into patients who needed medication, not because their health had changed, but because the numbers on paper had changed. Think about that for a moment. Overnight, people who had been perfectly healthy were suddenly labeled as having high blood pressure and put on medications that would alter their body chemistry for potentially the rest of their lives. Margaret learned that her body had been trying to tell her something important through all those side effects. And when she started paying attention to the signals instead of just masking them with medication, everything began to change. She discovered that her blood pressure spikes were directly related to specific foods she was eating, the chronic stress she was under caring for her aging mother, and the fact that she had become completely sedentary after retirement. But here's the part that will make you angry. All of these factors are completely addressable without medication. Yet no one had ever discussed them with her as viable alternatives or even complementary approaches to managing her blood pressure. Instead of addressing the root causes, the medical system had essentially put a pharmaceutical band-aid over a lifestyle problem. And that band-aid was slowly suffocating her vitality. The transformation began when Margaret started working with her new healthcare provider to gradually reduce her medication while simultaneously addressing the real issues. She began a gentle exercise program designed specifically for seniors, learned simple stress management techniques that took just 10 minutes a day, and made targeted dietary changes that didn't require giving up all her favorite foods. Within 3 months, something remarkable happened. Not only was her blood pressure stable and healthy without the heavy medication, but she felt more energetic and mentally sharp than she had in years. The brain fog lifted, the dizziness disappeared, and she was back to taking her morning walks, this time with a spring in her step that she thought she'd lost forever. But Margaret's transformation isn't unique, and that's what the medical establishment doesn't want you to know. There are thousands of seniors just like you who have successfully reduced or eliminated their blood pressure medications by addressing the underlying causes rather than just treating the symptoms. The science is clear. For many people over 65, lifestyle interventions can be just as effective as medications for mild to moderate high blood pressure. And, unlike medications, these approaches actually improve your overall health rather than just managing one symptom while creating others. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't about choosing between medication and natural approaches. It's about finding the right combination for your unique situation. And for many seniors, that might mean using medication as a temporary bridge, while you implement sustainable lifestyle changes that address the root causes of your elevated blood pressure. The key is working with healthcare providers who understand both conventional and integrative approaches to blood pressure management, who see you as a whole person rather than just a blood pressure reading, and who are willing to support you in taking an active role in your health rather than just being a passive recipient of pharmaceutical treatment. Margaret's story has a beautiful ending. At 71, she's healthier and more energetic than she was in her 60s. Her blood pressure is stable and healthy, and she's medication-free. But more importantly, she's reclaimed control over her health and her life. And she's proof that it's never too late to make changes that can dramatically improve your quality of life. The choice is yours. You can continue accepting that declining health and increasing medications are just a normal part of aging, or you can take action today to discover whether there's a better way forward for your unique situation. If Margaret's story resonates with you, if you're tired of feeling like a prisoner to your medications, if you want to explore whether there are safer, more natural ways to support your cardiovascular health, then you need to take the first step today. Start by having an honest conversation with a healthcare provider who understands integrative approaches to blood pressure management, not to abandon your current treatment, but to explore whether there might be additional or alternative strategies that could improve your quality of life while maintaining your cardiovascular health. Document your current symptoms, your energy levels, your mental clarity, and your overall sense of well-being, because these are just as important as your blood pressure numbers, and they're the markers that will tell you if any changes you make are actually improving your life. Most importantly, don't wait. Every day you spend feeling tired, foggy, and dependent on medications that might not be necessary is a day you could be living with the energy, clarity, and vitality that you deserve. Your life is too precious
and your time too valuable to settle for anything less than optimal health. So take action today. Start asking the right questions and discover whether you, like Margaret, could reclaim your health and your life.